for joining us in this second interview. So if you watched the first interview, Jennilynne talked about access bars. And so I've asked her to give us a demo here. So Kelsey is going to be our test subject. And why don't you walk us through how you might do a bar session with a new client?
Absolutely. So one of the things I do is a little exercise to kind of get the energy flowing beforehand. However, I'm just going to kind of go right into it so you can get an idea of what a session actually looks like. So the first thing I'm going to do is go onto a point that's just behind the ears. It's called the implant band. And just spend a little bit of time just lightly, gently touching her head, which kind of activates the energy to start flowing and running. And you might feel things like pulsating or heat, just different sensations like that, and it's very different for each person's head that I touch.
Do you notice like a balancing of pulses or a balancing of energy in your hands?
Not necessarily a balancing of energy, but what tends to happen when that point is done running is that the energy starts to kind of like wean off or slow down or be less intense.
It's almost like a still point in cranial sacral work.
Similar.
Similar to that? Because I know this is a very common point of a lot of times in just balancing brain energy as well between the two hemispheres of the brain. Fascinating.
Yes. And one of the nice things that actually happens during a bar session is it actually slows the brain waves down to gamma meditative state, which is the state advanced meditators achieve after years and years of practice.
Right.
So it's a nice way to do that. And a beautiful thing about that is science actually tells us that we have to hold a frequency of thought for 68 seconds, and that's what activates it out into the universe to be created. And especially in this day and age with technology, we don't usually slow our brains down.
In fact, we keep monkey chatter going, don't we? It's constant
Exactly.
entertainment and stimulation.
Exactly. So this is a nice relaxing way to kind of slow things down, kind of clear out, all that monkey mind and those voices, and actually start to create things in our life.
And actually the body doesn't heal when it's in high beta. It needs to go either into gamma, which is up, or it needs to come down into alpha in order for you to get a healing state in all the systems of the body. So that's fascinating. I love working with brain work. We do quite a bit of interview on there. So I'm excited that Access Bars actually is working with brainwave and what we now have learned about healing via the neurology.
Yes, absolutely.
Beautiful.
So now I'm going to move over to a couple of other points. These ones here are called money, control, and creativity.
Oh, that's beautiful. And so the goal when you're holding on both sides of the head.
So basically the reason why they're called bars is because we are touching the points on the same side of the head. So it's basically like that imaginary bar of energy running through the head.
So it's connecting both hemispheres.
Yes.
Oh, yes, that makes sense. Okay, wonderful.
Absolutely.
And are you able to notice anything?
It feels very pineal,
Really?
like accessing that part of the brain.
And that would be
Right.
because it's back over the years and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she's been trained in quite a few energy modalities, so it's fascinating for her to say it's pineal being the source of creativity, right?
Yes.
Where we bring in information.
And we're on the creativity.
That's
bar point,
beautiful.
so makes
Beautiful.
sense.
And then again, you're looking as the practitioner, are you holding for a certain amount of time? There's a feel.
Generally, if let's say we're going to have a 60-minute session and we want to make sure we hit on all 32 points, essentially what would happen is I'd spend about 20 minutes on the implant band, which is the point that I was just on, and roughly 3 to 5 minutes on all of the other points.
Okay.
Really, it's more about really being in tune with her body and following the energy. So it won't necessarily always be those amounts of time. It might be longer, it might be shorter. I've had sessions where I've spent the entire time on the person's implant band. So I'm really looking for what their body is asking for. And I know that based on how the energy is running, if it's kind of slowing down or it's less intense, maybe the pulsating or the heat or the vibrating that I'm perceiving when I have my hands on those points.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, as a client, if you're lying here, are you playing background music? Are they supposed to be quiet, go to sleep, stay awake? Are they allowed to talk?
It is their session, so I always, let them know that, it's their session. If they'd like to go to sleep and snore as loud as they'd like to, they can. Their job is really to relax and receive. But if they have questions and they want to talk, they can do that as well. We don't play music during the sessions, only because music actually does what's called turning the implants off.
Really?
So, yes.
All music or just particular
Any
music?
kind of music when we're doing a bar session particularly, and actually if there was something that the person could have cleared during the session, it will actually prevent them from clearing it and letting it go.
So this goes back to silence is golden moment?
Almost. It's not necessarily about silence because we can have TV playing or shows. It's
Because that's a
specifically
voice.
Yes, it's the music because the music actually alters our state.
This is true. It's going to put you into a different brainwave pattern.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that. That's fascinating.
Absolutely. So this point here is actually called the aging toaster. And so all of those, ideas and thoughts and beliefs that we brought around what our bodies have to do, how they have to break down and change as we age, or what things we can or can't create in our lives, based on our age, is really kind of clearing all of that.
Yeah, because those are just programs oftentimes.
Yes.
I mean, they know from studying telomeres that we are set up to live 150 years. We just don't seem to. And I read a quote the other day, and I wish I could cite who said it, but it's not that we're living longer, we're actually dying longer.
Mm.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the exposures that we have, but much has to do with our thinking about what aging looks like.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And what do you notice?
It feels like the top of my head is being lifted off. It's
Fascinating.
very expansive.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess we'll be coming in for a bar session now. Sign us up, Jennilynne.
Not at all. It's quite relaxing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And that's what it's actually meant to do. A lot of people say when they're done that it feels like they just had a really great massage, even though they didn't.
They didn't.
That's usually the worst experience people have. And we usually say the best is that their whole life changes.
Wonderful. Now, are any of the points on the face? Are they all?
There are
within the
a couple
hairband.
that are on the face. So actually, I'll go there next.
But 32 points. Wow, that's a.
Yes, and so I'm on some of them all at the same time, like money, control, and creativity. Those were 3 points
Right.
that I was on at the same time.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so it
Yes.
wasn't just 1 point at a time. When you're running the 32 points, it could be sometimes in combinations.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It looks very Spock-like in mine.
That's so funny because there's one point as I'm facilitating and teaching, it's kindness, gratitude, peace, and calm. And so we actually run it with the fingers like this, and we tell people to pretend the person has Spock ears or pixie ears, and go right behind where the point is, and then that's where you
That's where
hold
you
on the
hold
head.
your little tripod.
Yes.
Now, this point that you were just doing on her temples, though, and so this was that hitting 3 points then?
So that was 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
and 5.
Oh, wow! So 5 points at once.
Yes.
It actually looks very relaxing.
It is.
So the points that we're on are actually called form and structure, hopes and dreams, awareness and control.
Wow. Okay. Oh, okay. So does this help you release that need for control?
Yes.
Because that creates a
Absolutely.
lot of anxiety in life.
It does, when we're always trying to create something, like maybe we're asking for something to show up in our lives. Maybe it's a new job or a certain amount of money or a certain kind of relationship. And we formulate in our minds exactly what that has to look like and exactly how it has to show up. And not that that's bad, like, there's
Yeah.
some information, there's some criteria that is required. And sometimes we get so constricted around exactly how it has to show up and exactly what it has to
That we
look
don't
like.
let it show up.
Exactly, and we
Yep.
prevent it from showing up. So
Mhm.
the willingness to be out of control actually allows the gift of it to show up with ease and in a different way than we thought it could.
Oh, that's beautiful. Now, is there anything that you've noticed as you work with a client, as you work different points? Do they access memories? Do you find it changes the conversation? Are there places where they'll tend to want to go quiet just because their brain's processing?
It really is different for every person, and it's different for every person every time they come in. So
Oh.
each session, even for the same person, will look different. So it really kind of just depends on what's going on for them at that point. But they
Yeah.
will sometimes have certain questions about certain things, or I will sometimes get downloads of information about certain things, and sometimes I will say something or ask a question, and other times not. So
Yeah.
I'm really tapping into my awareness around whether or not it's going to contribute to them
Yeah.
at that moment.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, this gives you the basics then of a bar session. You're going to be
Yes.
working 32 points over 60 to 90 minute session depending on what they've arranged for.
Yes.
And do you do these in an office? Do you have a location where I could come and get a session?
I do them in the office. I actually office out of Basketball Wellness Center over in Aurora.
Oh, wonderful.
It's
So that's
located-
Aurora, Colorado, for those of you here in the state of Colorado.
Yes.
Great. And then you also teach.
I do.
So you do teach people, and can anybody, let's say I don't want to be a bar's facilitator, I don't want to train it, I don't want to be a practitioner, but I want to learn it for my friends and family. I can come take your course?
You absolutely can. It's not a requirement to become a practitioner or a facilitator to take the class. Families will sometimes come in, moms with their kids, or, boyfriend, girlfriend,
Oh,
husband,
we're going to
wife.
learn together.
It's great, right? My kids know how to run bars, so they'll run my bars at home sometimes. So it's great to do that and be able to trade, with other people.
Well, that's wonderful. So it sounds like something you can do for friends and family, a great way to kind of just keep yourself cleaned up and on track.
Absolutely.
I think as goes brain state, so goes health state.
Yes, absolutely. It's all connected. Everything's connected.
Well, great. So take a look at the bottom of this YouTube, and we'll have information about Jennilynne and how to access her for Access Consciousness and for Access Bars. And follow up. I think this is a great modality to learn. We use a little bit of this in some of our classes, and I've only had bits and pieces of it. So I found it to be quite a fascinating and powerful modality. Thanks.